Look, I recently ran into a missionary, and he's under the impression that Yeshu is the Messiah. Well, guess what? He's not. Now, the Trinity is false, and so is everything that has to do with Christianity. Why? Because the Torah and the Chumash, and basically the whole Old Testament, as Christians like to call it, does not even allow it at all for there to be a Trinity or for the Messiah to die and be resurrected. It's just totally full of it. Now, for example, one of the things that these people will do is say, look at Genesis. Okay? Look in Genesis, it'll say, let us make mankind in our image. So, let's go to Bereshit. And here it says, God let the earth bring forth living creatures, including to its kind, animal and creeping beast. And then it goes on to say, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. They shall rule over the birds in the sky. Now, look at this. Never here does God mention himself in plural, but just in two words. Other than that, it said God said, God said, God said, God said, God said, God said. But it doesn't say us continually or use God in a plural sense. Only once. Why is that? Well, many Christians will say, hey, that's the Trinity. But no, it's not. Okay? Because as we look here, the Midrash tells us, and not only the Midrash, but also Rashi's commentary even goes on to explain. 26, Na'aseh Adon. Let us make man. The preamble indicates that man was created with great deliberation and wisdom. God did not say, let the earth bring forth, as he did with other creatures. Instead, man was brought into being with the deepest involvement of divine providence and wisdom. Targum Yanasi paraphrases that God said to the ministering angels who had been created on the second day of creation, let us make man. When Moses wrote the Torah and came to this verse, which is in plural and implies that there is more than one creator, he said, sovereign of the universe, why do you thus furnish a pretext for heretics to maintain that there is plurality of divinities? Right. God replied, whoever wishes to err will err. Instead, let them learn from their Creator, who created all. Yet when he came to create man, he took the counsel with administering angels. Thus God taught that one should always consult others before embarking upon major initiatives, and he was not deterred by the possibility that some might choose to find sacrilegious implication in this verse. The implication of God's response, whoever wishes to err, is that one who sincerely seeks the truth will see it. One who looks for excuse to blasphemy will find it. So here we clearly have proof and evidence that even go back to Moses, that it is proof and evidence that the Trinity does not exist. As mentioned not only in Rashi's commentary, but even Moses himself is proven here to even ask God, why would he have this, so that people could blasphemize him? And God explains that yes, people may be able to look into it and blasphemize it, as it will be, but they will for the most part understand that it was made by ministering angels, and that people who are naturally blasphemers will do that. So that proves that no such thing as the Trinity. Okay. Also, just to add up quickly, in Deuteronomy, you probably know Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Lord is our God, the Lord is one. That's His glorious kingdom forever and ever. states that there's only one God and only one entity. Doesn't say God is made up of three parts. It said it was made up of three parts. It would be Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Shalosh. It doesn't say Shalosh, it says Echad. Now, if you know, Echad means one, and Shalosh means three. It doesn't say Shalosh, it says Echad. Now, for example, another thing that they like to do, Psalms 22:17. Right here, I have the actual total translation of the Hebrew, completely made, not the King James Version, not an international version of a Christian Bible that was completely mystified all the way from Hebrew to Latin to Greek to English to French. None of that. This is straight from English to Hebrew. Now, many people think that they're reading the same thing when they read King James Version, or they're reading another thing, but they're not. You know why? For example, in Psalms 22:17, it says that they pierced my hands and my feet, saying that, oh, look, I guess it's talking about Jesus. But it's not. You know why? Because it doesn't say pierced. It is something else completely different. It says, Psalms 22:17, for dogs have encompassed me, and the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They seize my hands and my feet like a lion. Now, how is this mistranslation made? Chiare means the lions, and they mistranslated that when they put it into Latin, and instead of lions they said gouged. One theory is, in order to legitimize Christianity, they had to put pierced my hands and feet instead of the lion grab my hands and feet. They had to do that so that they would become more legitimized in the eyes. So that when someone would read it, they'd say, oh, look, I guess they're right. I guess this psalm is implying to Jesus Christ. But no, it's not, because guess what? That's not what it actually says. So, again, misproven again. Also, Isaiah 52 and 53, suffering servant. Many people say that, oh, look, that's Jesus. No. The reason why it's in a singular terms because it's relating to the people of Israel, the Jews, who would suffer in the 10th century by the Crusaders who came and slaughtered them. Not by a guy, Jesus, who died for someone's sins and was laid on the cross to die. Not true. Not the case. Wrong again. That's one of several things. Also, if you look back at the prophets in Isaiah, says in the Christian version it says a child will be born of a virgin. In fact, it doesn't say that. It says, Isaiah, I believe it's chapter 9. Hold on. Shoot, where is that? Isaiah chapter 9, verse 8. Basically says that it will be born, a child will be born of a young woman, not a virgin. His name will be Emmanuel. First of all, Jesus' name wasn't Emmanuel, it was Jesus. Secondly, okay, the whole idea of it being a virgin was not true. It was a young woman. Now many people will say, wait a second, it's a young woman, meaning it can't be a virgin. But back in the times when this was written, people were married at 12 years old, which is a pretty young woman, most likely not being a virgin because she would be married. And by the way it was mistranslated, the actual word for young lady is alma, and for some reason it got mistranslated. Another faulty problem in Christianity, which no one can debate and no one can refute, because that is what the texts say of Hebrew, completely translated.